Hello, family. How y'all doing today? It's been a while since I reached out with a video, so I just thought I'd share a video with you all on today. Tackle a topic that I've been thinking about. I've actually been researching. I've been doing a lot of research on this topic, so I just thought I'd drop a video off. First off, I want to ask a question. We know that wealth is generational, right? We know that this is unequivocally a fact, that wealth is generational. But aside from wealth, what else is generational also? That's a question I want to pose to you today. The answer to that question is, in fact, poverty. Poverty is generational. Generational poverty is something that actually exists. It's true. It's not a phenomenon. It happens all too often in the so-called black community. You will have 4 generations of people living under one roof. All of them, from the time they were born, have been mired in abstract poverty with no hope or no, idea of how to get away from under that poverty. So we're going to tackle right now some of the root causes of generational poverty and what I think we can do to tackle that. As I stated, I've been doing my research on this a lot lately. I've been reading books. I've been, doing some economic studies, reading some economic studies. And let's tackle what I feel are the root causes, some of the root causes of generational poverty. The number one cause of generational poverty that I believe in, that some, studies also tend to agree, is lack of education. Lack of education, it really starts in the home. There's nothing wrong with sending your children to school so they could get some schooling or some so-called education. But don't just send your kids to school. You have to reinforce that. I sent my kids to school, but I also, based on what I had researched and what I had found out, I schooled them on some things that I thought school, was shortening them on. We shouldn't just send our kids to school and just let schools shape their minds. We should also have a hand in shaping their minds. Lack of education is the number one root cause of poverty, I think. Another root cause of generational poverty is the breakdown of the black family. As I stated, you have 4 generations of women set under one roof. They have 2 things in common. They've all been living in poverty, and they were all single mothers. There's a correlation between single motherhood and the rate of poverty. Single, in the so-called black community, and this number just floored me, single mothers make up 72% of the parents. That's astounding to me. And of those 72%, 50% of those children born to that single mother are living in poverty or below the poverty line. So there is a direct correlation between single motherhood and poverty. Now, I'm not saying that all single mothers are mired in poverty. I'm just stating the facts that there is a correlation. The breakdown of the black family. As I said, you have 4 generations of women standing under one roof. Grandmama, she didn't have a man. She had a baby daddy. Her daughter has a baby daddy. Her daughter has a baby daddy. Now, her daughter's 13 years old. She's sexually active. So a year from now or 2 years from now, when she becomes pregnant, that cycle just reinforces itself. It's just like a wheel that keeps turning and keeps turning over and over again. That is another cause of generational poverty. So we have lack of education. We have the breakdown of the black family. Too many black kids being born into single parent homes. Too many black kids being born out of wedlock. Another root cause of generational poverty, and studies have backed me up on this. You can do your research on your own. Don't just take my word. Another root cause of generational poverty is the fact that we as a people, We have no trade skills. There's nothing wrong with going to college. I tell my son, I told my daughter, if you want to go to college, that's fine. But college is not for everyone. We should be putting it in our kids' mind and go to trade school. There's nothing wrong with college. Go to trade school, because here's what I know. They can never take away what's in your mind and what you can do with your hands. They can take away your job. They can never take away what's inside your head and what you can do with your own hands. No one can take those skills away from you. Far too often we go to college and we get out of college, and what we went to college for, we can't find a job in that field or in that line of work. So what was the college for? Another root cause of generational poverty is, and this is a phrase that I coined myself, generational debt. We paying for grandmother's debt, mother's debt, and then we're passing all that on to our children. See, when other races of people, when their kids go to college, they start out with a foundation, because their parents, they saw down the road. They put away for a college education. I always say, we as a people, far too often and far too many of us, we live in the moment. We don't see the tomorrow. We don't put away. I've worked hard all my life so that when my kids go to school, I told them they would not put their name on a student loan debt. Because I know people who went to college, got out of college, 20 years ago, they're still paying student loan. Generational debt is another root cause of generational poverty. We as a people, we work hard, but we don't see the big picture. We don't see tomorrow. We living for right now. We go get the $200 shoes, the house that we can't afford, trying to impress people we don't like. Or people who don't like us. I mean, why are you trying to impress people you don't like or people who don't like you? That's crazy to me. We have to have a change in mentality. It has to start somewhere. We have to break that vicious cycle of generational poverty. When we get a job that I call living wage job, that we can actually support our family on, it's incumbent that we get an insurance policy, get multiple insurance policies. We invest in a 401k. We get a pension. We put money away so that when the time comes, our kids won't start out behind the 8 ball. They won't have to run to catch up to people who are already ahead of them. They'll start out on the same level playing field. We have to tackle generational poverty. Those of you who are around my age and younger, as a kid, there was a game, Etch-a-Sketch, where, you doodle on it, and once it get full, you had to shake it up and start all over again. Our mind needs to be shaken up, because a lot of the things and the practices that we have instilled in our mind and our mentality, they have been a detriment to us for so far too long. So we as a people, we have to change our whole mentality. It starts now, because another generation is coming, and that generation should not be living in generational poverty, just like generation before them. It's a vicious cycle, generation. Like I said, you have 4 generations of people living under one roof. They got one thing in common. They all have been mired in poverty their entire life. That's just my thought. Like I said, I've done research on the matter. You can do your research on your own. I hope this video inspires you to change your mindset and your mentality and think about the big picture, think down the road, to help our kids build generational wealth. We need to go from generational poverty to generational wealth. Y'all have a great day.